there, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are talking spring. Who is ready for, I don't know, warmer weather, spring, birds, trees, flowers? I'm ready for all of the things. So today we're going to be talking all about spring eyeshadow palettes. I have on my channel a winter eyeshadow palette as well as a fall version. So we are headed into spring. So I thought I would share with you my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes for spring in my collection. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Okay, so I picked out all of my palettes here. So this is my collection. So these are my favorites that I have that I'm reaching for come springtime. Today I kind of have like this pink spring moment on. I'm ready for warmth. I'm ready for all things spring. I'm really ready for summer. So if we could just skip spring and go straight to summer, that would be great. But nevertheless, I love spring makeup. I love doing like, just to kind of tell you a bit about my preferences, I love doing like a pink eye or some sort of like very girly type of look. Purples I'm really into in the springtime. I also still love like my neutrals, which is like a pop of something, cool tones. So I'm going to be sharing all of the palettes with you. So the first one I have here is from e.l.f. and I think this one would be great to add to your collection if you do not have it already, especially for springtime. So this is one of their bite-sized palettes. This one is the Rose Water. I don't want to open mine because mine is just like shot. I accidentally dropped it and the shade is just falling out. The shade also has a mark in it, but you can kind of tell what it looks like. The colors in here I think are beautiful for spring. I love, like I said, doing a rose look, a pink eye, and I feel like this does that really well. The formula is really nice in here. It's for, what, $3? These are $3. You cannot beat that. I also love that it has the deeper shade in here so you can kind of vamp it up a little bit. But like I said, I love these like rosy tones in the springtime. I think that one would be great, nice and affordable. And then speaking of purples, the NORVINA palette I think would be great to pull out if you have this one in your collection. Get some use out of it. This one is perfect for spring because I was saying I love me some purples and some pinks, but I also love staying within my neutrals as well. So I love that this one still has all of those warm tones in there, but you can incorporate some of the more fun girly colors as we transition into spring. So I know for me personally, I adore the color Soul. I love this one right here. It's one of my favorite colors in the palette. I love mixing this one with this shade right here called Celestial. Like those two together are so pretty, like this smoked out on the outer edge and then this all over the lid, top this in the inner corner. It's absolutely beautiful. I love that you also have, like I said, the mattes in here. Formula is easy with this one. If you don't have it, I feel like a lot of people have this palette, but if you don't have it, this would be a nice addition as well to your collection. And then I also have another mini palette. I love me some minis, and I feel like these are quick and easy. Again, spring, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like spring becomes a bit of a busy season for me. Like I have a lot going on, and I don't always have time to do like the most intricate looks. So I love having mini palette options. So this one is from OFRA, and this one is called their Signature Sweet Dreams palette. I love the tones in this one. As I said, I love pink eyes, and I feel like this is the perfect palette to achieve that look. It has like those blush berry tones with this deeper shade here, and I just think this one is beautiful. I love that you also get the middle shade here. This one is in the shade Pillow Talk. You can use that as a highlight on your face. I love these palettes because they're versatile, so you can actually use any of these on your face if you wanted to. You could use them as blush, but just the perfect palette I feel like to go in with and make a very girly, flirty type of look. I always like to just throw in here that I am an affiliate with OFRA, so anytime you want to purchase anything from their website, you can use my code MAKEUPMOLLY. It will save you 20%. Moving on, I have one of my favorite palettes in my collection. This is from the brand Alter Ego, and this is actually meant to be a dupe palette for the Huda Beauty Nude palette, and I never ended up getting that one, but this one I use all of the time. This is one of my most loved palettes in my collection. I literally, probably this shade right here, I'm going to hit pan on at some point because I use that one all of the time, but this one is perfect for spring. If you have the nude palette from Huda, you could also pull that out. If I had that one, I would be using that one. I just had this one. It's a really good dupe. Every time I try to link this one, it's sold out on their website, but hopefully it comes back in stock at some points. Again, it's the brand Alter Ego, so they do a lot of like inspired by palettes, really straight dupe palettes. This one even has like the cream shadow in there like hers does, like it's literally the same palette. But I just love these tones. I love mauve tones. And I also love that you have these like glitter shades in here, because if you are wanting to do something a little extra, a little flirty, you can also reach into those. But the shimmers in here are just so beautiful. They have a really fun, like three-dimensional look to them when you wear them on your lid. They look very wet, they're very foiled, they're really, really pretty. So this is a great palette. I use it all the time. I use this a lot, really throughout all the seasons, but especially in the springtime, it's one of my favorites. Sticking within the same theme, this one here is the Sweet Pock from Colourpop. Great palette for spring. This one is like If I could probably only pick one palette in my collection for like spring makeup, I would pick this. I just think it's perfect. The colors in here are so beautiful. The formula is really easy to work with. I love how many like options you get in here, but also still how small it is. I love this shade right here. It's one of my favorites in the palette. It's called Dream Maker. Absolutely gorgeous, but I like that you also have this one right here. This one is beautiful. It's called Prime Drama. It's a glitter shade, but this one on the lid, you guys, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Just like tap it on anything. So gorgeous. One of my favorites from Colourpop actually in general out of all of their palettes, but this one is great, especially for this time. And then I also have another Colourpop palette to show you guys. I feel like this one doesn't get as much love as the Sweet Talk palette. I feel like that one's pretty loved on, but I adore this palette. So this one here is called the Flutterbye, and I like this one because it has a little bit more of cool tones in there, but you still get that like mauve-y pink vibe, but it's a little bit more cooler than the Sweet Talk. I would compare these two, and I would say kind of like you have the warm version and then the cooler version, but I think they're both beautiful, great options. But the reason I love this one is that because I feel like I can get, you know, more versatile looks with this one, just because I feel like with this one, you're leaning a little bit, like I said, more warm, but this one I feel like it's cooler, but you still have a few warmer shades in there as well. So this is actually one of my favorite Colourpop palettes as well. I love that purple glitter in the middle. I think that would be perfect all over your lid. And then I have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. You guys are probably tired of hearing about this because it's honestly one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I absolutely love this palette. Again, I use it all of the time, but the tones in here are so beautiful. I love doing a pop of blue in the springtime as well, and I love the blue options in here. You just have those few blues right here, but mixed with those purples, they're absolutely stunning. The shade right here in Haze, it doesn't look great on its own. So for me personally, I love to pair this with a base. So I have from KVD Vegan Beauty, I have some of their like pomades. And if you put that on like first as a base, like a white one, and then you go in with this over top, it's the most beautiful color. But for me, this one does need a base, but it's like one of my favorite shades in the palette. So if you have a white base, then this is amazing, especially for spring. But also love, again, so many different options in this one. You have lots of purples in here. You have some rosy tones still. You can vamp it up with these shades over here, or you can do more of a peachy look with kind of like these golds and stuff over here. I love that it has these shades right here for the inner corner. I think this is a great option. I adore the packaging on this too. I think it's so pretty. Okay, and then I wanted to throw in here another mini palette. This one is actually from KKW Beauty. I really like this palette. It's just called the Mrs. West palette, which now I'm kind of like, this is ironic because now I know that her and Kanye are divorcing. So I'm not sure if she's going to keep the West on her name or not, but this was actually part of her wedding collection. So I don't know. I don't know if this will stay around. Maybe they'll just continue this collection, but I really like this palette. It's easy. And sometimes, like I said, I want to go for an easy, everyday type of look. Fresh out the door where you look like you just kind of like just woke up. Love this one. It's really easy to use, and it just has really pretty shades. Like, I know it seems like kind of boring, but the shimmers are really nice. They give a nice sheen to the eyes, and I don't know, I really like this one. It's one of my favorites that I have as far as like my mini palettes go. And the last two are if you want to do something a little bit more fun. So I have the DOUCE palette from JUVIS Place. I think it's called that, DOUCE. I've heard it pronounced like multiple ways, but this is a fun one. So it kind of reminds me a lot of the colors I have on my eyes right now. We have this one here. If you are curious, the one that I have on my eyes is actually from Causemtics. This is their Spanglish palette. But this one kind of reminds me of that with these shades right here. So this shade is my favorite in the palette, in case you didn't know. This is the shade Macaroons, and I just can't get over the color of this. Every single time I use it, I'm like obsessed. I love mint tones, so I think this would be great for a fun like mint moment on the lid. If you have this palette paired with that shade, I was talking about the blue one from the Huda palette, that would be great. I'm actually going to have to do that combination myself, but this one just has those more fun tones in here. Like I said, you have the bright pinks. You also have a silver. You can do like a silver moment. I like that you have the deeper shades in here. You can vamp it up. This is a large palette. These pans are huge, so I feel like sometimes I don't always reach into it just because it's kind of like a lot, and the color story to me is a little bit confusing, but I use this more as like an accent palette. So I'll go in with one of the shimmers in here, or use one of the mattes and then kind of top it with another palette. So I like using this as a mixture, but I think that one would make a nice addition. And then lastly, I have the What's the Tea palette from the Balm, and I was telling you guys how I like some cool tones. And I know the opposite of the JUVIS Place one, but this one is kind of if you want more of a cool tone. It's like a deeper look. So I really like this palette here. I think the formula is really nice on it. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about these, but it actually comes with 2 different bases in here. So you have a black base and then also a nude base. So you can apply those, and then depending on which one you use, these shadows can transform. So if you use like the black base with the blue, you're gonna get a really fun look. If you use the black with the purple, it's gonna come out different. You can use a neutral base, you know, it's kind of like mix and match to your pleasure, but I think it's a cool concept, and I think this one is really beautiful. Again, you have those rosier tones, but you have the purple in here, the blues if you want to play with that, or if you want to stay in the neutral family, you also have neutrals in here as well. That is the last palette I have for you guys. So those are the 10 palettes I would pick in my collection for springtime, maybe give you a little bit of inspiration to pull some of those palettes out. If you do have any of them, comment down below and let me know what is your favorite spring palette. What are you most excited about for spring? Do you like spring, or what's your favorite season? Because I feel like for me, I love the end of spring, but here in Michigan, spring still is a little bit rainy and chilly still, but I love the end of spring where it's like not too hot yet. But anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.